Chloe, what the hell is your problem? Stella apologizes to you and that's how you treat her? In the background, I could hear the faint sound of a woman and child crying. I said nothing. After a long silence, his voice came again, low and cold. I don't know who you've become, Chloe. I'm so disappointed in you. Stella had started it, but the moment she cried, Ethan always made me the villain back home. I started packing. While Ethan had been on the phone, I'd been consulting with my lawyer. Upon divorce, I was entitled to at least 30% of his company's shares, and in a custody battle, with our circumstances being similar, the mother is typically favored. There was nothing left to hold me back. I packed my clothes, my bags, my jewelry, and all of Annie's favorite toys. As I sealed the last box, my hands trembled. My eyes fell on a dusty, wax-sealed trunk I hadn't touched in years. It was full of love letters. From the Ethan who was 17, 18, all the way to 22, I broke the seal and opened the one on top. It began. To the 27-year-old Chloe from the 17-year-old Ethan. This is the first love letter I've ever written you. As we agreed, we'll open this together in 10 years. By then, we'll definitely be married. Maybe we'll even have a beautiful child. My phone rang again. It was the 27-year-old Ethan. Chloe, Stella took Leo and ran away. Do you have any idea what you've done? If anything happens to them, I will never forgive you. My eyes fell to the bottom of the letter I was holding. It was signed, Forever yours, Ethan, who will always love his Chloe. A sharp, piercing pain shot through my chest as if something delicate and precious inside me had just shattered. I hung up the phone and tossed the entire trunk of letters into the fireplace. Ethan didn't come home that night. I didn't frantically call him, didn't cry, and promise to be nicer to Stella. Annie didn't ask about her father either. She just silently took the framed photo of her and Ethan from her bedside table while I was packing. We fell into a cold war. A week later, Annie's school sent home a permission slip for a field trip that required a parent's facial recognition signature. I tried to call Ethan, only to find he had blocked my number. Left with no choice, I drove to his office. I didn't have to wait long before I saw a familiar figure slip into his office. The assistant, pouring a glass of water, looked at me guiltily. Mrs. Hayes, Mr. Hayes gave instructions that Stella can enter his office whenever she likes. That privilege was my fault in a way. I used to bring Ethan lunch every day. We'd eat and talk for an hour. One day Stella came to see him and was stopped by the assistant. By the time Ethan walked me out, Stella and Leo were shivering in the hallway, their lips blue with cold. That was the first time Ethan had ever truly lost his temper with me. He yelled that my daily visits were a waste of his time. He fired the assistant who had stopped Stella from that day on. Everyone at the company knew who was the most important woman in Ethan Hayes' life. I never came back to the office again. I gave the new assistant a small smile and walked straight toward his office. Ethan was in a meeting. He looked surprised to see me. What are you doing here? Stella was perched on the arm of his chair, their bodies so close they were almost touching. He saw me looking and started to stammer. Chloe, don't get the wrong idea. Stella just happens to know a little about this project, so I nodded and handed him the tablet. Annie's field trip. It needs your signature. You came all this way just for that? Why else would I be here? The atmosphere in the room grew heavy. I knew Ethan well enough to know that he was in a very bad mood. Stella scoffed. Honestly, what's so important about a signature? Ethan, she's just looking for an excuse to make up with you. You've been staying at my place for days. It's probably time you went home to see Annie. Ethan's brow smoothed and a smug, playful smile appeared on his face. He tossed the tablet onto the coffee table. Chloe, now you're using our daughter as an excuse. Apologize to Stella. Otherwise, I'm not signing anything. Hearing those words used to infuriate me. I'd be furious that he cared so little for his own daughter, and even more furious that he was doing it for Stella. But now, I felt nothing. My only thought was that without his signature, Annie couldn't go on the trip, and she would be disappointed. I looked at him, then at Stella, still perched on his chair like a queen on her throne. Without another word, I turned and walked out. I'd just tell the school Annie didn't have a father. I'd only taken a few steps when a clear, cool voice stopped me. If you don't mind, miss, perhaps I could be of assistance. It was the other man from the meeting. After all, I've been an unwilling audience to your family drama for a while now. I finally got a good look at him. He was dressed in a sharp black suit, his features cool and aristocratic. He radiated an aura of wealth and power. I simply handed him the tablet. The authorization went through instantly. On the screen, a bold, elegant signature appeared, Julian Prescott.